Good evening here in the UK. Welcome to day 2 of the Shifting Perspective Initiative. Just giving people a chance to come on live and checking everything is working. And yeah, let's get started, shall we? So this week we are doing a 3-day event. Yesterday we looked at how our mind works. Excuse me, I've got something in my eye. It's not my eyeball. There we go. So yesterday we looked at how our mind works. We're going to recap that today as well. The video for yesterday is up on YouTube, and it is also in my SPI Facebook group and on this event page as well. If you're watching on the replay, welcome. I hope you've watched yesterday's before you watch today, and I hope you did, whether you're watching live or on the replay, I hope you did the homework. Okay, this information is great, but it only works if you apply it. Okay, so today we're going to look at techniques and approaches for getting our mind to work for us. And then tomorrow I'm going to do a very, very whistle-stop overview summary of everything we've covered so far and go to a live Q&A. I have had a few questions come in so far. People not being too brave just yet, not willing to go live and ask it face-to-face, which is absolutely fine. Paradigm. But it is all good because they have sent their question in. Okay, also gives me a chance to actually formulate the perfect answer rather than doing it off the cuff. So hey, it's all good either way. Okay, so today we're going to recap everything we spoke about yesterday. Again, whistle stop tour. And then I'm going to do a little bit more theory information based. So we're going to look at, can you damage the mind? Remember, mind isn't your brain, but can you damage the mind? A little bit more on conscious mind versus the subconscious mind. Then I want to really focus on the frequencies of thoughts. So those of you who watched the Think and Grow Rich seminar or who have seen any of Proctor's work, you'll know that he really goes deep into the frequencies of thought. And I really want to put my own spin on that and help you to understand that further. Then at the very end of the session, we are going to look at some approaches and techniques. So how to be an effective decision maker, how to shift your habits, accountability, and I'm going to touch on my planetuding approach, which kind of involves all of those all lumped together in one handy little package. So let's get going. So yesterday we looked at our higher faculties. Bob mentioned in Think and Grow Rich, and I mentioned yesterday, that it's only our mind that sets us apart from any other animal on the planet, be it a dog, a horse, a fish, anything. Every other creature blends in with their environment. We as humans, we create our environment. We don't blend in, and we create it using our higher faculties. So if you remember, we have 6 of them. We have reason. It's what we use to think, to analyse, to compare and evaluate ideas. To strengthen your reasoning factor, it's about practicing being unreasonable. So being reasonable in nowadays is kind of considering stifling or sacrificing your own dreams and goals out of fear of what other people might think or might say, or if you're being selfish or any of those other stuff. It's all paradigm stuff. Fear of being laughed at or failing. Okay, so a lot of the time we don't do what we want to do for fear of how other people will then react. So yeah, practice being unreasonable for a little while, and that will strengthen your reasoning factor. Intuition was the second one. It's the little voice inside that is linked to the Supreme Being and to our creative. It's basically the link between us and the higher thing that is above us, be it religious connotations or whether you just believe that there is a higher being. So to train your intuition, stop and listen. We are so busy, so distracted in our world nowadays that it's really, really easy to forget that we do have an inner voice. And I don't mean a paradigm inner voice. I mean your actual intuition inner voice, your intuitive voice. Sort of like a sixth sense, but it isn't one of your major senses. Okay? So stop and listen every now and then. It's speaking to you. Take some time every single day to slow down and just listen to it. Give it a problem to solve. So think of a problem or focus on a problem just before you go to bed, and then hand it over when you go to sleep, and it will get to work. And by morning, it'll probably give you a buttload of ideas. It's really good like that. Okay. We also have the will. It's what we use to focus our attention. Sustained concentration is what is sometimes considered when we think about the willpower. What a person concentrates on, they think about, and what you think about, you become. So I said yesterday that one way of strengthening the will is to put a little dot opposite your favourite chair and stare at it. And when your mind wanders, just bring it back to the dot. And have a set time each day where you do that. It could only be 30 seconds on the first day, and then stretch it to 45, and then stretch it to a minute. But as long as you can do it, a little bit each day, all adds up. Okay? Next one is memory. We all have a perfect memory, and we had the quote on the screen yesterday that said everyone has a photographic memory. Some people just don't have any film. We can train our mind and our memory by using all of our senses when we're trying to memorize something. So if you're trying to remember somebody's name, when they tell you their name, make sure you're shaking their hand, looking them dead in the eye, being mindful of their smell, and then listening for their name. So using 4 out of 5 of your senses, because I'm not sure that tasting them is probably the done thing. Okay, we then have our imagination. It's incredibly powerful. It allows you to create anything out of absolutely nothing. So every single thing we have around us now, bookshelves, phones, laptops, glasses, were all formed in somebody's imagination before they were then created in the real world. So to strengthen your imagination, quite simply, daydream. Spend however long each day daydreaming. I like to do it just before I'm falling asleep. And I do it very often when I'm in a situation I don't really want to be in, that I have to be in. Any time of day where I just need to go off and have a little bit of escapism. I build the picture of the thing that I am working towards, in my case, the lake house. I still haven't worked out which lake it's going to be on yet, or maybe even the sea. Don't know yet. I know what the house looks like. I've managed to paint a picture of it. So I took it out of my mind, out of my imagination, and put it on paper. I can now see it. It's pinned to the wall in the bedroom. And I absolutely love falling asleep looking at it, because that's where I'm going, and that is where I will get to, because I believe that I will. And then last up, you have the perception. So perception controls what you become aware of in your environment and how you see it. I mentioned yesterday that the biggest, greatest, overarching law of the universe is that energy just is. Everything just is. It's our mind and it's our perception that make it negative or positive. And then the law of polarity, if there is good in something, there is also bad. If there is bad in something, there is also good, and they're equal. So there are equal amounts of good and bad in everything, and it's up to you to choose whether you see the good or you see the bad and what you focus on. Okay? Tips for developing your perception. Have an activity where, for example, you write a number 6 on a table or on a floor or on a piece of paper, and ask somebody else to stand the other side and see what number they say. Because they're going to say a 9 and you're going to say a 6. You're both right. You are. So if you swap places, you would then say the opposite. The person who said 6 would say 9, and the person who said 9 would then say 6. All about how you look at things and which direction you're looking at things from. So I mentioned yesterday, we need to use these higher faculties to see the world from the inside out, rather than being affected by everything that's going on around us and what we're getting from our sensory inputs. We need to see the world from the inside out using our higher faculties. It's the only thing that sets us aside from every other animal on the planet. It's listening to and acting on the voice inside, your intuition, seeing the good in everything. It's a choice. Make the choice. Okay? We are not mere spectators in our world. We are co-creators. We form not only what we experience, but also how we experience it. Okay, we then moved on to looking at why we must have a goal. And I made a big thing about the Psycho-Cybernetics book by Maxwell Maltz, who said within the book that we have within us a creative mechanism. And the creative mechanism is like any machine, it needs to be constantly working or it seizes up. When it seizes up, well, we have no reason to live, so our body just slowly dies. Okay, it's the same thing why you can see a 30-year-old who looks in his 60s because he's got no goal, he's run down, or she, got nothing to live for. And then on the flip side of that, you can see a 70, 80-year-old that looks like they're in their 30s because they're happy, they've got something that they're striving towards, they know where they're going, they're doing something every single day, they're not just giving up. Okay, but even if we have a goal, we can still get stuck. So Psycho-Cybernetics gives us the tools on how to build a goal, but then we have to understand how the mind works, which is also in this book, Psycho, based on the mind. We need to be able to get there. And the biggest thing that stops us from getting there is our paradigms. So yesterday I then moved on to what is the mind, and we said that our mind isn't our brain isn't our mind, in any more than our arm is considered to be us. You are not your arm. We can cut your arm off, and then you've lost 15% of your body. But you haven't lost 15% of you, because you are not your arm. You are a spiritual being living in this physical body. So your mind is like the control switch that sends signals to the electrical switching station, which is your brain, which then manifests through your body. So the mind tells the brain what to do, the brain passes the signals to the body manifests the electrical signals. And then we went into conscious mind versus subconscious mind. So the conscious mind, our thinking mind, our educated mind, it's where our sensory input goes, it's where our higher faculties are, it's where we rationalize everything. And it has the free will to think and to choose. Nobody can make you think something that you do not want to think. And then the subconscious mind, the Greeks used to call the heart. It's your emotional mind. It's completely subjective. It will feel whatever you're thinking. So if you're thinking negative, it will feel negative. If you're thinking positive, it will feel positive. It's where your paradigms live. It feels what you're thinking, and it has no free will. It just does as it's told. It has no choice. Okay, so what you think, you feel, and what you feel, you then do. We then moved on to paradigms, and yesterday we covered the fact that all of us have paradigms, and there's also paradigms within countries. So a certain country or a culture or a business can have a paradigm as well. So if a company sees itself in a certain way, that's its paradigm. To change the way a company works needs to change in the same way as we change our paradigms as individuals. Okay, so we had a look at this wonderful little stick person figure created by Dr. Thurman Fleet in 1934 to help the healing arts heal people more holistically. So they work on the full human rather than just the physical symptoms. And he said, circle at the top is your mind, and it's split in half for the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And then there's a little circle below with the body with four little arms, 2 arms, 2 legs, and your neck, and that is your body. And it basically shows us graphically, because humans are visual learners, that what we think in the conscious mind, because we can choose what we think in the conscious mind, we then translate into feelings in the subconscious mind. That puts our body in a certain vibration, which creates action, which then causes a reaction from the universe, which is equal to what we gave it, which then creates our conditions, our circumstances, and our environment. And we then said that our paradigm controls our ability to earn money, our perceptions, our use of time, our creativity, or our lack thereof, if that's what your paradigm says, your effectiveness, our productivity, and our logic. So if all of these things are controlled by our paradigm, And our paradigm is our subconscious habits. It's a multitude of habits held in the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind, 95% of your habits will be completely automatic. You have no say, you just do them. And I gave the example yesterday of putting on your shoes. See which foot you always put in your shoes first, and then the next day try and put the other shoe on first, and you'll see how uncomfortable your paradigm makes you. It's as simple as that, as an exercise. Okay? So what's going on in our paradigm is often the reason why we don't do what we know how to do. So you can be attending this training, and you can understand it, and you can believe in it, and you can agree with it all, and you go, right, I'm going to change my paradigm, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and it's going to be awesome. A week later, nothing's changed, and you're back in your old habits. And that's not your fault. Not your fault at all. That's your paradigm. Saying, I don't want to change, I want to stay exactly where I am, nice and safe and comfortable. Don't care if you're not happy about it. That's what we're doing. And it's at that point that you've then got to make that choice about what you think. So if you think consciously every single day that you want to change that paradigm, you have to make that hard conscious decision every single time that you switch back to doing something automatically. Okay, so our paradigm is in control of all of these things, and it's the reason why we don't do what we know how to do. And I mentioned yesterday the knowing-doing gap, which is a part of a program that I can facilitate for you if this is something that you really, really want to work on. Because the knowing-doing gap is basically what causes the majority of our frustration. Because we know what we should be doing, and we just don't do it. It causes frustration. Okay? We then considered the negative thoughts versus the positive thoughts. So if you're focusing on where you are now, your current results that you don't like, it's causing negative thoughts, it's causing worry, doubt and fear, causes anxiety, you suppress the anxiety, you get depressed, anger turns inwards, and your body is in dis-ease. Or you can choose the positive side. So you can look at your current results and go, well, I don't really like them, I don't like it. I want this instead. And then instead of focusing on what you don't want, you focus on what you do want. You build your knowledge, you build your understanding of what you want, which helps you to believe in it more often or more strongly, which builds faith in yourself. Not religious, but faith, as belief. Believing before you see it. Believing that you are going to get it because you've got the knowledge, you've got the understanding. This puts your body in wellness, you express the wellness, and your body is at ease. I know which one of these options I try and choose each day. And it is quite hard sometimes. When you're completely surrounded by negativity, it can be very hard to choose the positive thoughts. But you can, and you will. And the more you do it, the more you practice, the more you will succeed. We then moved on to why we need to keep an open mind. And it's the difference between wishing and believing. So wishing, good old Geppetto from Pinocchio, it's hoping and dreaming, expecting things to happen without you actually doing anything. Okay, so everything comes to you for free. It's wishing. Or you can be taking action. So when you believe, it's dreaming with action. So you're taking the steps. You're listening to your inner voice, your intuition, and you're following through. And even though you're uncomfortable, because your paradigm's being a bit of an arse, and making life difficult for you because it's putting up a fight, you still keep taking those difficult steps because you believe that you will get to where you want to go. And you will. You just have to believe it. And if you don't believe, know that I believe. I don't even have to know who you are, where you are, what you're aiming for. If you can think it and if you want it, then I believe you can get it. Full stop, hands down. And if you want any help with that, just get in touch. I'm more than happy to help you. Okay? So we then discussed briefly about science and religion. They both believe the same thing. They both agree that belief is key. And the only way you change your belief on a subject, on anything, on stereotypes, on your abilities, on anything, is by reevaluating it. So looking at it objectively from another point of view and reevaluating your opinion of it. Okay? Did you do the homework? I hope so. Because like I said, you can do so much study, but if you don't apply it, you just go back into your old habits. Knowing doing gap. You're gathering all this knowledge, but if you don't do anything with it, you're going to stay where you are. Okay, so that was a quick whistle-stop tour in 20 minutes of what we did yesterday in an hour. So now let's move on to today's subjects. So, can we damage the mind? Quite simply, no. The mind can give up, or you can make the mind give up gradually over time. As I said, within the psycho-cybernetics book, there's the example of if you tell a person that there is no point, you convince them that there is nothing to live for and that all they need to do each day is just sit in the chair and stare at the wall, their creative mechanism will basically die. And when your mind dies is when your body gives up, because it's got nothing to control it. If the mind is not telling the brain what to do to then put the body into action, the body will just give up, which is why you see a lot of people do die, sadly, very soon after retirement, because they lose any spark, any will to live. They just go and sit in a chair and think, that's it, my life's done. They wait to die. It's not fun. There's no point to it either, because we can do anything at any age. Okay? We can damage the brain though. Blunt force trauma, blood clots, a lack of oxygen causes strokes. Here in the UK, we have the National Health Service who put out this advert quite often, because it's a very quick, simple way to really help someone fast. Hence, fast. So when someone is having a stroke, it basically means that there's a blood clot or a rupture, or there is a lack of oxygen getting to a certain part of the brain. And they say that the symptoms for a stroke, which are these, is the face, one side of the face drops. Your arms, you just lose all strength in one side of your body. Your speech becomes slurred. And time is because you don't have a lot of time. You need to be phoning 999 in the UK, or wherever you are, your specific number. So 911 in America, I think it is, for the ambulance service, paramedics, and 999 in the UK. Get help fast. Because the longer the brain goes without oxygen, the longer that damage goes on for before the medical people can fix it, or can stop it at least, the more brain cells that die. Okay? So your brain is incredible. It's full of millions of all these little neurons and everything else. Lots and lots of brain scientists stuff. I'm not going to profess my understanding of it past the basic concept of we have neurons. They're all linked together with all the little synapsy things. And axioms, is it? Somebody will probably correct me, so I won't go any further into that. But the brain is such that we've actually proven that you can repair brain damage in some cases. So for some people who have had a stroke and they've lost all use down one side, their arm could be completely useless. What they've actually proven is that if you manually manipulate that hand, so if you take their hand each day for however long and you curl the fingers and you bend the arm and you get the hand to grip something every day, like manually manipulating it, it rebuilds the map between the neurons in the brain. And healthy blood cells, or healthy brain cells, not blood cells, sorry, healthy brain cells can be retrained to replace the damaged ones. Obviously, it's not going to happen in all situations, but there is a lot of evidence now that is actually showing that there are so many brain cells in our brains that you can repurpose some to repair and replace the ones that have been damaged and have died. Very, very clever science. Okay? So, conscious mind versus subconscious mind. As we said yesterday and briefly in the recap, we do not blend into our environment. We manipulate it to suit ourselves. We choose where we are. We can accept, reject, anything we choose to. All right. Some people say there are things that we don't have a choice about, and I love Bob's example on this. Taxes, for example. You choose to pay your taxes. Because if you don't pay your taxes and you choose not to pay your taxes, you either have to move somewhere where you don't have to pay taxes, or you're choosing to go to jail. So you're either choosing to pay taxes or you're choosing to go to jail. Still a choice. It might feel like it's forced, but you don't have to pay taxes. There's just a consequence if you don't. Okay? I love that little saying. So this image on the screen is of an iceberg. Above the water is 10%. And it's the conscious mind. So it's your willpower, short-term memory, logical thinking, critical thinking. And then below the surface is your subconscious mind. So I've said 95% of your habitual behavior is controlled by the subconscious. But it's your beliefs, your emotions, your habits, your values, your long-term memory, that sort of thing. So subconscious and conscious are like this. Like I said, with conscious mind, it is you choose what you think. Nobody can force you to think something you don't want to think. It's your choice what you think. As I said, you choose to pay your taxes. Or you don't. And you run the risk of being sent to prison. It is what it is, but it's a choice. And then the subconscious mind, I love this little quote. And it says, thoughts are like seeds. So what you plant in your mind can be flowers or weeds. So the subconscious mind is like the earth. The earth will take whatever you plant and grow it. If the nutrients are right and it's looked after and it's got the right amount of water and the right amount of sunlight, it will grow anything. You could plant nightshade right next to sweet corn, corn on the cob, corn plants, and both will grow just as vigorously right next to each other. One's going to kill you, one's going to feed you. The earth doesn't care what you plant. It will grow whatever you plant. And the subconscious mind is the same. So if you choose to plant weeds, you'll get weeds. If you choose to plant flowers, positive thoughts, then you'll get flowers. Make sense? Hope so. If anyone does have any questions as we're going along, please feel free just to drop them into the comments or write them down and send them to me afterwards. So next bit, frequencies of thought. We think on frequencies. Our results are in harmony with the frequency that you think on. So these lines, think of them as levels of vibration. So what you think creates what you feel, creates your vibration. And you can only attract what's in harmony with your current vibration. And the lines of vibration can be also said to be frequencies. Okay, so whichever level your thoughts are on is the frequency that you're on. Think of it like radio. Okay, you turn the dial to get between different frequencies. You can go higher frequency or you can go lower frequency. But whatever frequency you're thinking on is the frequency that you'll get results on. If you choose then to set a goal that's on a higher frequency than what you are now, otherwise it wouldn't be a goal, you are trying to go from your current level of frequency to a much, much higher one. You set the goal and you make the decision that you're going to go after that goal. And you have a couple of thoughts here and there on the level of your goal. But if you don't have all of your thoughts on that frequency of your goal, you will stay down here. You will stay at the level where your frequency is and where you are at now. And eventually the goal fades. Because you can't reach a goal that is on a higher frequency without thinking and being on that frequency. So to get to that goal, not only do you have to think of the goal, but you have to think and act like the person who is achieving that goal, who has already achieved that goal. So to get to a goal, you have to think and act like the person that you want to become. And the more that you do that, eventually, given X number of time, because we can never predict how long the time frame is going to be, in any situation there is a gestation period. Like when you plant a seed, it will take however long to grow, depends on the seed. Same with babies. in humans and in any other animal. There is a set amount of time from conception to birth of that animal. Results are the same. So you will receive those results and you will achieve that goal, but only once you are thinking and acting like the person you want to become and the set amount of time has elapsed. Okay? So there is absolutely no point in setting the goal, making the decision of the goal, and then thinking, oh, well, I'll do this when. The goal's going to fade. Don't ever, if you're going for a goal, say, well, I want to do this, but I'll do it when I've got the money, when I've got the time, because you'll never do it. You need to take the step, build a new model, start thinking like the person that you want to become. Otherwise, you will never get there. Everything you could possibly want that you can see yourself with is already here. You just have to be on the same frequency as it to attract it to you. You need to be thinking on the frequency of your goal for your goal to become your results. Okay? And that leads us quite nicely into our techniques and approaches. So the first one is decision. You must make a committed decision. And Tony Robbins puts it like this. He says, stay committed to your decisions, but stay flexible in your approach. So you can always make a new decision, but never go back on one that's already been made. The destination, the goal, remains the same regardless. The route there can change on a daily or an hourly basis. The only prerequisite to making a committed decision is that you want that. You want that thing. So you make a committed decision that you're going to go and get it. You must know what you want. And as part of the program that I am a part of, that I facilitate with my clients, Module 1, Lesson 1, is all about setting a worthy goal. Because if you don't have a worthy goal, you've got nothing to aim for. If the goal isn't worthy of you, you'll lose interest. And you won't do the work that needs to be done because there's no spark, there's no excitement, it's kind of, it's blasé, isn't it? You must have a real want that you really, 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 really want, and then you make a committed decision to get it. And you know at that point, with your understanding and your knowledge, which you will gain by going through the program with me, that you will get there. It will take time, but you will get there. You must always make a decision based on where you are now, with the information that you have now, rather than waiting for more information or umming and ahhing or asking what others think. You know the answer to the question. You know the answer to the problem. It's in you already. You've just got to find it. So if you do have a problem, you want to do something, but there's something in your way, or there's a problem in your life as it is now and you don't know what to do, rather than asking someone else or 100 other people what their opinion is, write the problem as detailed as you can on a piece of paper as if you were giving it to somebody else, so that they would be able to see it in exactly the same way as you see it. Put it in the middle of a table and then walk around and see it from different perspectives. Have a think. How would Bob Proctor see that problem? How would your idol see that problem? So if you are a sports fan and one of a football player or a basketball player or something, how would they see that problem? How would Thomas Jefferson or Winston Churchill or the Queen, rest in peace, but how would the Queen have seen that problem? Have a think from different perspectives as you're trying to find the answer. And the more you ask inside yourself, the better the answer will be. So make decisions based on your intuition and your thinking. Don't second guess yourself. Don't go back on a decision you've already made. If it's the wrong decision, it's the wrong decision. You made it based on the information you had at the time. You then might come across some more information that means that decision probably wasn't the best one, but don't go back on it. just make a new one. The most successful people make decisions quickly because they know what they want, and they very rarely, if ever, go back on them. They just make a new decision in its place. This leads us on to habits, which is massive if you're trying to change your life. So our paradigms are a multitude of habits stored in the subconscious mind. So to change our paradigm, we must change our habits. And I was recommended a book, love books, as you can probably see behind me, this book by James Clear. Best, simplest, well laid out, amazing book. Got lots of graphical representations in it as well for changing habits. As it says, tiny changes, remarkable results. I'm not going to do the book justice, same as I wouldn't do Psycho-Cybernetics justice. But there are a few things that I took away from the book and from the workbook that you can also download as part of it, which is what I did, which is really, really, really good little workbook, if my bag will give it back. I had it printed on a nice little hardback book, because why not? And this little book, it goes through action checklists, some extra little bits, how to create good habits and things like that. So I've taken some of the guidelines out of this book, out of the workbook, and out of the actual reading book to share with you today. Okay, so the first thing that he really points out, once he's gone through like how habits work, what habits are, paradigm type stuff, he goes in a little bit more detail than I have. He says you need to work out who you are. You're the type of person who, earns 10 grand a month, who flies everywhere by private airline, or doesn't fly at all because you don't agree with air pollution and all of that, whichever type of person you are. So I'm the type of person who lives in my lake house with my wellness retreat, does yoga out on the deck every single day. So whatever your goal is, that's the type of person who you are. So what is the habit that that person does that makes them so successful? Are they confident? Are they productive? They don't procrastinate. They are giving rather than focusing on what they're receiving. So you then write down the habit that reinforces your desired identity. Once you know who you want to be and the kind of habits that you need to have, you can then move into some different types of habit setting. So the first one that I want to cover is temptation habits, where you will only do the things that you want to do once you've done something that you need to do. So I will only binge watch 3 hours of a program on Netflix. I don't know. I haven't watched TV in a long time. I'm too busy with all of this stuff. I will do the thing that I want to do. So today I wanted to do some crochet stuff. You'll probably see coming up on my YouTube channel soon some new little crochet videos. But I will only do some crochet when I have scheduled my content for the week on social media, or when I have, as part of my business, for example, contacted 5 people today, reached out to see how I can help them. Okay, so temptation habit is you will only do what you want to do when you've done what you need to do. And this is a big thing I'm trying to teach my 7-year-old at the moment. She, as children are, and my husband's sort of the same as well, you want to do what you want to do. And you kind of leave the stuff that you need to do until last. And I was the same. But I found a few years ago that if I get the stuff done that I need to get done, it then means I can do the stuff I want to do without any time limit. I have all the time in the world. I don't have to sit and go, well, I should probably stop this now because I've got X, Y, Z to do. No, I've already done X, Y, Z. I get all of my stuff ready for work when I'm working during the day, or all of my daughter's stuff ready for school the next day, the night before. So when we get up in the morning, there's no stress. You literally just have to get up, get dressed, have your breakfast, unless she's eating in breakfast in morning care, and then go. And then any extra time, you get to do what you want. So for her, it's playing on her iPad for 10 minutes or whatever. So choose what you want to do, and then say to yourself and be really firm, I will only do that thing that I want to do when I have done the thing I need to do. Because it's the thing you need to do that's going to get you closer to your goal. If you're not doing what you need to do, you're not going to reach your goal. Okay? Another type of habit setting activity you can do is a implementation habit. So I will do a behavior at a certain time in a certain location. So say you're trying to lose weight. I will exercise or go for a run, go for a walk around the block at 7 o'clock in the morning in my lounge, my local gym, my local area. So you set up your behaviour and the time and the location. You've then made the decision that that is what you're going to do at that time in that place. And the book then goes into some more helpful hints at that point, which I covered in my blog post that went live on yesterday on rethinkyourperspective.com/blog. It's the most recent one. There will be a new one tomorrow, but it's the most recent one, and it's do you need to change your habits? And as part of that blog post, which I based on Atomic Habits and the things that I found that helped me, if you want to go for a run at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, whenever you're choosing to go for your run, lay out your running stuff the night before. So in the morning when you get up, there's no faffing around, oh, where's my sock? Where's my trainer? Why is my trainers not laced up? Oh, they're still wet from the run I did yesterday morning. It's all ready to go. So you literally have to get out of bed, put it on. So my recent habit change that I've been doing is I wanted to do yoga every morning. So I set my alarm and I struggled for the first couple of days until it clicked that I can lay the yoga mat out the night before. And I've also set up a playlist on my YouTube app that gives me a selection of 6 videos to choose from that are morning yoga. So I don't have to go searching for a yoga video. I don't have to set the mat up. All I have to do is get up, get on the mat and start doing yoga. Press play, go. Makes it easy, makes it convenient. Get over that, you're halfway there. You then need to make sure that whatever habit you're going to do is rewarding. So if it's to go for a run, it might be absolutely piddling it down outside, like it's done most of this evening here. But if you want to go for that run, what's the benefit of going for the run? Why are you going for a run? Well, to lose weight. Why do I do yoga in the morning? Because it helps loosen all the muscles up, helps me get ready for the day, puts me in a good headspace. That's a good reward. I'll get up for that. Okay, so you have to set your behaviour, set your time and your location, and then make it as easy and convenient as you can. Another one is habit tracking. So I personally do it in my diary, which is here. And it's literally just as simple as ticking it off. Okay, so every single day that I do my habit, which is these little crosses, I cross it off. And it took me a little while at first to get in the habit of doing the habits. But once you've got that visual representation, it can be as simple as colouring in boxes on a chart like this. You suddenly think, oh, I've done like 10 days straight, I'm not going to miss. And it becomes easier and more automatic to do that habit every day because you've got that streak going. All right? So those are just some points from Atomic Habits. And habit tracking and habit building and habit shifting all ties into the planituding approach that I will go through in a moment. So next up is our accountability. Holding ourselves to account is very effective, but we very, very easily let ourselves off the hook. And this quote sums it up perfectly. Isn't it too convenient just to forgive yourself? Let yourself off the hook. But what will keep you from doing it again then? And the way to get around that is to have an accountability partner. It's much more effective because you're less likely to let someone else down. You're more likely to follow through with what you've said you're going to do if you have to report to somebody else. Okay? It works the same way as like how you talk to yourself. So you would never, I know I wouldn't, or never used to anyway, I'm not so bad now. You would never speak to somebody else the way that you speak to yourself. And it's the same with accountability. You would never hold yourself as strongly to account as you would as if you were holding yourself to account to somebody else. Excuse me. I am more than happy, and I already do it for quite a few people, to hold you to account to your actions. Reach out to me. I will happily be your accountability partner. And I know that sounds one-sided, but it also holds me to account. Because if I've said I'm going to hold you to account, then I have to hold you to account. Because you're holding me to account to hold you to account. Makes sense in a roundabout kind of way? Okay? So, as I said, I'm also going to go into my planituding approach that I have recently had printed. Okay, so it comes in A5 and A4. It also comes as an electronic copy for free, which is downloadable from my website. So just rethinkyourperspective.com/planituding. Okay, and it basically is a daily habit of planning, gratitude, and intentions. And within the book, it's 120 something pages long. You have lots of information about where the approach came from, what its benefits are, and how to use the book. It's got little sections like this about how to use the journal. Okay. And then it's also got some templates, which I've put up on the screen, to help you to really zoom in on your goal. So there's a section on writing out what you want. What do you really want? No mind as to whether you're going to get it or how you're going to get it. It's just what you want. And then you turn those wants into a goal, which is the first thing on the first template on the screen there. But it looks like this. Okay. Once you've set your goal, you then need to work out what habits that person has who has achieved the goal. So there's space in the journal to write out your current habits, and then space for you to think about what habits could you replace them with. Because you can't just stop a bad habit. Don't know about you, but if I try and just stop doing something that I've been doing for a while, you just end up doing it again. After a while, you forget that you're not supposed to be doing it and you carry on. Or you replace it with an even worse habit, or an equally as bad habit. So you have to create a new habit that replaces the old habit that is productive. Okay, and then there's space as seen by the third picture on the screen and this page here, where you can write out your old habit, write out your new habit you're replacing it with, and then what happens when you notice that you're doing the old habit. What do you then instantly do? If you've written it down and you've got an accountability partner who's also got your version of this written down, it's much, much easier to then stop doing the habit. The rest of the journal pages they look like this. So you've got space for the date, space for you to write what you're grateful for, space for you to write what you want to get done tomorrow, space for what your intention is for tomorrow, and a space for you to write your goal. Now, all of this approach I went through very in depth with, and the videos of that 5-day seminar are on the YouTube channel. So pick and choose which ones. Again, day 5 is always a summary. So use the summary to then go back into the videos to help you understand the bit that you are struggling with using this journal. Okay. You also get a nice little freebie at the back in the form of a little bookmark, which you can cut out and use as a bookmark in your reading book or in this journal that tells you your why. So this is what I want, my reason why I will forsake everything that distracts me from my goal and living the life of my dreams. Because if your goal isn't worth giving your life for, it's not a good enough goal. And I do cover that more in my planituding seminars. Okay, the very last thing at the back of this journal is what I have termed a get done list. Okay, so as it shows on the screen, instead of being just a normal to-do list where you get things done and you tick them off. A get done list has got one vital thing that's really, really important. As you get things done, you move them into doing, and then you move them into got done. And that got done list is so important because you can very clearly see everything that you've got done. And if you've got them done, it's like a little pat on the back. You can focus on that list and think, well, actually, I have achieved quite a lot today. And this is all the stuff I've achieved. So well done me. Okay, it's a little confidence boost. You can set this up like I have here, where you can move it across manually and write it across. You could set it up as post-it notes on the wall, where you write the thing you go and get done, move it to doing, and then moving it to get done. You can do it with a pegboard. You can do it on a Excel spreadsheet and just drag the cells across. However it works for you. But as I said, I do go into more detail on the planituding approach on my website and also on the seminars that I did a couple of weeks ago, which are all on YouTube. Okay, they're also in my SPI group, so Shifting Perspective Initiative on Facebook. And that's it for today. So that was day 2. We've covered the recap of yesterday. Can you damage the mind? Nope, but you can damage the brain. But the brain can then be retrained. Your conscious mind versus subconscious mind. Your frequencies of thoughts. And then some approaches and techniques. So decision making, habit building, accountability, and my planituding approach. Okay, as I said, you can have a free copy, electronic copy of this journal by going to my website, rethinkyourperspective.com/planituding. Okay, you can download it from there, and there are also places on the website on the programs page where you can buy a printed hard copy that will be sent directly to your house. Again, either A5 or A4. Okay, so homework for today, because you've got to apply it somehow. Send me any questions that you have. I will either answer them directly to you or I will put them as part of the live Q&A tomorrow. Book a discovery call with me. The link is on the next page. One-to-one chat, completely unbiased, completely open, no selling of anything. It's a discovery call to find out where you are and where you want to go. And your third thing for homework is to choose a habit that doesn't serve you and start consciously choosing to do something else. So use the template that I have put in the planituding journal, which I can send you electronically if you drop me a message. Okay, this one. List of habits, what you're going to replace them with, and then which one, only work on 1 or 2 at a time, don't overwhelm yourself, are you going to work on first to change. Okay, so thank you very, very much for being with me this evening, or for watching this on the replay, if that's where you are watching this. Again, if you do have any questions or anything at all that you do want to ask, please get in touch on any of the links below. Obviously, they're not clickable, but Rethink Your Perspective in various shapes and sizes across most of the social platforms, or my name, Jay Cordery. There's also, I really struggle getting my hand to actually work. There we go. Facebook, Instagram, and my email address is there. And if you want to book a one-to-one call, it's calendly.com/J-RYP, Rethink Your Perspective, /discovery. Okay, I cannot wait to talk to you. I want to help you find out where you are, where you want to go, and get you started. That is my purpose. Okay, so I hope you will join me tomorrow, same time, same place. Depending on how many people are around at the time will depend whether it comes across in this format or if I can set it up as a live interactive, you can actually speak to me kind of room. I will collate questions that are coming in because I have had a couple so far, and I'm sure I'll have some more this evening, and I will use those as the basis tomorrow if no one is brave enough to come on live. Okay, no judgment, absolutely no judgment. You will do it on your own time when you are ready. But again, thank you very, very much for your time and your energy this evening, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.